Hello guys, so one of the biggest concerns in the extremely far future when we achieve effectively living forever, for which is gonna happen, especially in most people who have been born past the year 2000. Of course, not everybody's gonna make it, sadly. Like, you look at that one person on YouTube who died from his own pranks. But of course, all of us careful and smart people are going to probably be alive by the time these stuff comes around. So effectively, you could live forever. Then, okay, you won't have to worry about getting old ever again. Which means Halo, of course, is still wrong about the future. Duh. Halo is wrong about the future because if we get rid of aging, that means Master Chief could live forever. But you know, but again, Halo was made in 2001 when science did think it was impossible. Bull. Same thing with Star Wars and any other media. Now most cyberpunk worlds, yeah, aging does not exist in cyberpunk. It does not. Okay, read about Angel and Cyberpunk 2077. There's no such thing as getting older in those mediums. Okay, those two games, those two universes. There's no such thing as getting older in Cyberpunk 2077. Or read about Angel, especially in the manga and read about Angel. Yeah, a lot of cyborgs do not even age, so that explains how Alita can really survive as just a head and not die, essentially. But the big thing people always talk about, oh, there's no way to survive the heat death of the universe. No way. Well, there are actually three ways to survive the heat death of the universe. But I bet any advanced civilization is going to prepare for the end of the universe. If the universe actually does end, then the universe ending is still very, very, very speculative already, like most of science is. But let's assume it does end. And what are the three ways to survive it? How can you survive something when the universe ends? Well, there. So, I'll go over the first one. This one is probably the most likely. Creating our own universe. If the simulation theory is correct, and now, which the simulation theory would also prove the infinite universes theory, because in theory, any intelligent civilization, again, the simulation theory also confirms that reincarnation is the case, because if you die in the simulation, you create a new character, therefore, for basically, again, most rise between rise progressions and most and near-death experiences actually support this as a whole, which is pretty kind of scary if you really think about it. Some people would describe it as the reincarnation trap. They describe it as a trap, but it really does prove that, yeah, you're going out of the simulation. You basically wait until you pick your next character, and that's how it is. But we'll get done talking about that. But the simulation theory, if true, okay, means that we can escape the universe by creating our own simulation to escape to, our own simulation using virtual reality, which will eventually just become a replacement for reality, which means we'll effectively have escaped the universe destruction, because even if the universe ends, there's still new the new universe that you created. Create a new universe or new simulation. Basically, you create a new universe, new simulation. Basically, you know, and basically creating a new universe. I wouldn't be surprised if it is possible, especially if the simulation theory is true. That means you can basically escape to a new simulation, and definitely escape to new simulations. Which also proves how there could be, stars older than this galaxy, than this universe itself, and other weird things that people are now finally starting to discover. And now scientists are saying, yeah, it's a 50-50 chance we are living in a simulation. And if true, we can just create a new simulation to escape the universe. And make that universe, and have the control over that simulated universe. And the many worlds theory would essentially be proven by the simulation hypothesis, because any intelligent any life form that is essentially escapes the universe will create simulations, and of course those simulations inside those simulations create universes, and etc., etc., etc. It will be a never-ending cycle, essentially, basically proving the many worlds theory, because if there's an infinite amount of universes, infinite amount of simulations, it would never end. Okay, again, now. Number 2 is moving to another universe. So of course, if there actually is proof now that there are other universes out there. The scientists has now proven that there is a parallel universe where time flows backwards. But what if there are other universes that just started, or universes that are further back? So if there are infinite amount of universes, parallel and non-parallel, so that means, and again, this is also quantum immortality. Effectively, you can just move to any universe you want after the universe died. Which also proves the fact that there are stars older than this universe. People say that it's impossible, but how can there be stars older than the universe? Obviously, some form of intelligent life, if the Big Bang is not disproven, must have moved here to this universe. And then the last one, time travel. Oh yes, some people say that time travel is impossible, but what if it is possible? Effectively, if you make a time machine, you can live indefinitely, actually forever, because if you can travel back in time, you can just go all the way back to the beginning of the universe. First, which also would prove that there's a star. Yeah, all of this is proven because they reversed very recently found a star that's older than said universe. So there's more to our universe than it may seem. And there's of course a fourth theory, that the universe may never end. Of course, this is probably not likely, but there is a fourth. Again, there's so much about the universe in this universe that we don't understand. Okay, that we do not understand. Okay, there. Especially considering now that the universe is rapidly expanding. Okay, meaning the universe is not going to end anytime soon. So you shouldn't have to worry about it. Especially if we do achieve biological immortality. And probably soon after that, effective immortality. And become a godlike race. The whole goal of a race and intelligent creatures, and basically all of life, is to eventually reach that point. Reach that point where we no longer need to die anymore. We no longer need to pass through vessels and bodies, anymore, and effectively become a godlike race. A YouTube channel already talks about this essentially, but we won't need if a civilization doesn't need to die anymore, they don't need to reincarnate anymore. It's just a simple fact. If you don't need to die, you don't come back. It's just that simple. And of course, people say, but if reincarnation is real, if people stop dying, then how no ones are born? Well, it's just that simple. Other organisms and other life forms exist in the universe, in our planet. It is very likely that their souls will probably evolve higher consciousness, and of course they're going to evolve their higher consciousness, they becoming a human or another human-like species. Okay, reincarnation is all about evolution. It's not about becoming one with God, karma, blah 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 blah. It's all about evolution. we use creatures reincarnate all the time. The universe, everything reincarnates all the time. The whole goal is to basically become a godlike immortal race. Okay? Well, we can become both physical and digital at will. Well, we can basically never die. That is the whole goal. And humanity is about to achieve that status of race. Humanity is about to do it. The first one is cracking the biological code of aging. And once humanity does that, we have essentially ascended already to becoming a godlike race. The whole point of humanity was not to stay a natural race. If we stayed a natural race, we would have never evolved and stuck in the Stone Age for eternity. We would have been still hunter-gatherer peoples. We would have not evolved at all. Okay, we would have not evolved at all. We would have never evolved and stayed in this state. So basically, the escaping the heat death of the universe is humanity's final push to become essentially an eternal presence throughout the stars, throughout the galaxies, throughout the universes, even creating their own universes. And even creating a universe that never ends. Since creating a universe that could last quadrillions of years. But you don't have to worry. Again, who knows what will happen in the next 10 years or more. But I'll make a whole entire video dedicated to what is probably guaranteed to happen in the near future. Based off current scientific advancements, based off current, information, knowledge, research, and all that stuff. And actually, a lot of future technology is actually a lot closer than you think it is, including immortality itself. And which means Big Think is right. Religion truly is on its last leg, because humanity itself will transcend the need to die. And if we essentially, even if the universe ends, there are still ways to escape the end of the universe, to escape the end of time. I already told you 3 ways. Create a new universe, escaping the universe into a new universe, which again, it has been proven there are other universes out there, and of course time travel, which is another one. And again, a civilization will be so powerful and so great that maybe we won't even need to exist. We won't even need to exist in a physical state. I wouldn't be surprised. But we'll basically become a godlike race. That's the whole point of humanity and transhumanism and all those other types of movements. The future of humanity. And yeah, I actually think that most people under the age of 40 are probably could essentially live forever. Okay, I'll go over that in another video too, about how if you survive to 2040 to 2035, the 2030s to 2040, you could effectively live forever. Okay, and of course there are ways to survive that day. Okay, and I'll basically go over all the places you should avoid. Okay, in the meantime, okay, all the places and areas you should avoid, because they're all very dangerous and bad places to go to, and lots of places to avoid. But that could be an entirely separate video. How to make it to 2040. The complete guide. Of course, if you're somebody you're 80, you're probably not gonna make it to 2040. Unless you're under some miracle or something happens. And also I'll make a video about, it's actually confirmed that you can actually stop aging. It actually is confirmed. It's confirmed that you can actually stop aging. So there's a lot of things to talk about. That's basically it about this video. Goodbye.